Namaste. Good morning, dear friends and masters. Good evening and good afternoon, masters joining across the globe. A very happy new year to all of you. I am Anusha Paladigu. I have with me Anusha K. We both will be presenting to you the book called The Practice of No Problem by Jeff Carreira. So the author says the book will take you as far as you are ready to go. He challenges us like how much room we have in us. He says what and how much you experience will be largely dependent on how much room you have in your heart for miraculous. So let's create some room by going into meditation. Let's meditate for 10 minutes. Please close your eyes. Remove spectacles. And let's follow the guidance.
Dear friends, we are going into powerful group meditation. We are going into breath mindfulness meditation. With your eyes closed, fingers crossed into each other, rest your hands comfortably in your lap. Observe your normal, natural in-breath and the out-breath. Our goal is to empty the mind. When we observe our breath, the mind becomes empty. No forceful inhalation and no forceful exhalation. that in breath and the out breath, and allow yourself to slowly become empty of all thoughts in your mind. It is natural to have thoughts. When you recognize your thinking, go back to observing your breath and allow yourself to slowly become empty. As your mind is becoming empty, allow yourself to experience the total emptiness inside of you, all around you. The longer we are in this emptiness, the more we channelize that energy into our generous present moment, the more we develop mindfulness. And the more we allow our body to function at its natural best. Merge into your breath, merge into that emptiness all around. experience that emptiness, that blackness, where there's no body, where there's no thing. In no place and no time. All emptiness is energy. This is the field of infinite quantum field of energy. Allow yourself to stay connected to this emptiness, that void, as you merge into your breath. The more you are in this emptiness, the more clearer you become, the more intuitive you become. Friends, at this time, I would like you to express gratitude to all things and everybody. Gratitude is the high state of receivership. Give thanks to your parents, your teachers, your mentors, your family, your friends, your colleagues, everybody in your life. Can you express gratitude to this grand nature, the bird, the fish, and the animals? Be grateful to everything you use, the technology, the systems, the companies, the government that support you. Your gratitude to yourself and to this intelligent universe for helping us experience life more. Slowly recollect your experiences from the session, and whenever you're ready, you'll keep your hand hands on your eyes for 5 seconds, and then you may open your eyes.
Wonderful. Hope you all had a great meditation. So let me introduce about the author of this book, Jeff Carreira. Is a spiritual teacher and author known for his commitment to awakening and transformation. Uh, is basically an undergraduate degree he earned in physics and worked as a research engineer. And later on, he did his master's and served as a special education teacher and school administrator. He met his spiritual teacher Andrew Cohen in 1992, and then he embraced the perspective of evolutionary enlightenment. And he became a member of global spiritual movement where he created education programs, supports ongoing spiritual growth and of the people around the world. Carreira now teaches with Patricia Albere in the Evolutionary Collective, exploring advanced human relationships and spiritual transformation. Uh, he is the author of several books, including The Miracle of Meditation, Philosophy is Not a Luxury, and Radical Inclusivity. Inclusivity. Okay. His works focus mainly on meditation, consciousness, and the transformative potential of spiritual practice. Actually, this book is a exploration of four most valuable insights he gained through many years of meditative experiences. Following this carefully will support our ongoing process of awakening. And the book explores the concept that problems only exist as constructs of our minds, created by how we interpret and judge our experiences. Jeff Carreira emphasizes that by altering our perception, we can dissolve problems and live a state of inner peace and presence. And as I told you, the author says the book will take you as far as you're ready to go. Friends, may I request you all to turn on your videos if possible. And now Anusha will take you through the first three chapters of this wonderful book. Over to you, Anusha.
Thank you, Anusha ma'am. Good evening and Happy New Year, everyone. I'm Anusha. Today we are going to present the gist of the book, The Practice of No Problem by Jeff Carreira. I'm going to give the piece of information about first three chapters. The first chapter introduces us the meditation and how meditation can initiate a process of spiritual transformation. The second chapter details an approach to the practice of meditation based on the conscious of having no problem. Each of the remaining 4 chapters is dedicated to his many years of meditative experience. Now we will go to chapter 1 about meditation and transformation. Author dedicated his life for the exploration of the transformation that all human beings possess. In this search, he not only experienced transformation, but also he got the chance to explore with the experienced souls. When he talks about meditation, it is not only sitting with our eyes closed. He's talking about the experience of who we are beyond the mind. All that matters is we move beyond assumed limit of the mind. Our mind have been conditioned to remain attached to a certain range of thoughts, feelings, and perceptions within a much larger field of awareness. We are stuck into the experience of being me. Our attention on the experience of being me is so strong that we have forgotten that there is any other possibilities. When you are consistent in meditation, one of the miracles of meditation is the discovery that we perceive more than our minds can. And nothing is more happier than the freedom you find in true meditation. We know that our eyes only perceive a narrow part of the electromagnetic spectrum, and our ears only hear a small range of sound frequencies. In the same way, the author says our mind only experiences a smaller part of the immeasurable field of consciousness. Some of us become interested in transformation. We begin to realize that we are more than that, but we don't know how to break the habit. Here, I want to say my experience about the meditation. Like before, when I felt I'm stuck in the life with some personal problems, I wanted to do meditation, but don't know how to do it. I used to sit for meditation, not able to close my eyes for 5 minutes also. And then I got to know about the Buddha CEO and started to meditate and started to read the books suggested. Now I can sit for 1 hour for meditation, and I saw so many personal and spiritual benefits of meditation. If we want to transform, if we want to expand ourselves, want to expand our experience of consciousness and identity, we have to first detach our attention from the small possibilities that we have become, that we are habituated. Consistent practice of meditation and book reading will help that. The experience of meditation is the first miracle of meditation. The second is to enter into a natural process of growth. When you are consistent in meditation and book reading, you naturally grow. Once we discover the miracle of free-floating consciousness, we begin to realize something even more miraculous. Consciousness naturally expands. Like growth is a natural part of life. Everything grows and often without much force or effort. Like we can see trees don't have to force themselves to grow from seed. Nor do flowers or animals or flowers. Growth is the essence of being alive. When trees, flowers, and birds and animals can grow, then why wouldn't consciousness grow in the same way? Like as soon as we let go of what we are or what we think this is me, we enter into a natural process of growth and evolution. Deep meditation allows us to let go of what we are habitually think what we are. So that we are free to become more than that. That is why he sees meditation as an essential part of the transformation. So this is the gist of chapter 1. And chapter 2 is about the practice of having no problem. Here, the meditation practice that he is introducing is the simplest thing you can possibly do. In fact, it is so simple that you are already doing it right now without realizing. no matter what we experience in meditation, we should not make a problem out of it. Even if our mind tells that you have a problem, you don't have a problem with that. The common problem everyone has is thoughts always come in the form of an argument. Your mind is trying to convince you that there is a problem. Actually, that is not a problem. It is just a conversation happening in your mind. Here, author gives an example of a friend who complains all the time. No matter what happens, they always seem to find a problem to complain about for a while. You might talk to them about their problem, but eventually it gets exhausted after a while. You don't want to be involved with that. Same like that, our mind is like that only. It is always has a problem, and after a while it gets exhausted. Here, author explains it is like a radio playing in the next room. You hear the sound, but you are not listening. Every problem you have will always be a conversation that your mind is having with you. All you have to do is don't listen to it, and then you are free. Eventually, your mind gets bored and stops talking. And he says, it takes time for your mind to stop because it has a lot of momentum behind it, but that is not a problem. You just let it go. You have to decide that from this moment forward, you will not allow yourself to relate to anything as a problem, at least during meditation. If you learn to accept the way things are, then your energy is free, your attention is free, and you are available to experience things that you couldn't imagine before. This all he talks in chapter 2. So in the chapter 3, he talks about liberation. Liberation is possible. Here he says that the key to attaining the awakening, that knowing that it is possible. The beginning of this journey is knowing that liberation exists right now for all of us. The only place that you can find freedom is right here in the middle of the experience you are having right now. This is where freedom exists. Intention of writing this book is to bring to the direct recognition that we are already always free and always will be free. So this all the author talks in the chapter 3. So this is the gist of chapter 3. For the next 3 chapters, I'm handing over to Ansha ma'am.
Wonderful, Anisha. Thank you so much. Friends, let us make this session as an interactive session. So, did anyone read this book? Anyone read this
No,
book?
no, not.
Okay. In fact, this is not available on Amazon, but so I think one of our friend posted the a PDF yeah, of the book in our group. I suggest you all to read the book because what we are talking is only gist of the book. In fact, we should read line by line and understand this book is a wonderful book. And can anybody tell about what is liberation? We have been, listening this word right from our childhood, right? Uh, can anybody tell what is liberation? You can raise your hands or free PDF. Yeah, it is available. Free PDF. Yes, Neha, madam.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, good evening.
Ma'am, to me, liberation is understanding that at any given point in time and any one moment or any 1 minute where you realize you are not the mind, you are not the body, and you are more than that, and you can come into observer mode and be it. I think that is liberation attended, that you've received even for that moment, because people think that moksha or liberation is something that will come at the end of life, but it is actually something that's happening every passing moment. The minute you realize you're not indulging in your thoughts and you're not trying to avoid them either, is a form of liberation in itself.
It's wonderful. Actually, the same thing is said in this book in a detailed way. Have you read this book, Neha?
No, I just put a message in the chat to you saying that can you please
Yeah.
share the PDF,
Yeah,
because
sure.
book
Are
and
you
I'm
not a part of this
not
book
even
club?
in the group. No, I someone recent today only forwarded the message to me. So this
Okay.
is my first session here.
Okay.
Um, how do we get added on the group and receive the
You leave
PDF?
your number in the chat, so we'll ask the team to add you to the group so that you'll get all the notifications.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to add what to the what Neha said? Yeah. Yes, in Bhagavad Gita, like we all know that Bhagavad Gita says about the liberation and moksha and all, we are listening, right? Yeah, it describes as the attainment of individual natural state by relinquishing what is not a imposed state. It's a going to the natural state. And liberation is a supreme and highest status beyond good and evil. This is what Bhagavad Gita says. And let's delve deeper into what Jeff Carreira has explained to us in detail about this liberation. And the second insight is liberation is already yours. Now, Anusha has told about liberation is possible. So it is possible, we know, but in the second insight, he says it is already yours. What does it mean? He says, like this concept challenges our conventional understanding of freedom and liberation. We think that liberation, after this is done, then we get liberated, we get freedom and all. But he tells that it is already yours. Liberation is not dependent on changing your current experience, it is already part of who you are, he says. And true freedom is being peace with the present moment as it is, without resistance or need for change. This is what he tells. Let's take an example. Imagine you are stuck in a traffic and running late for some important meeting in office. So our mind may race with thoughts like, "Oh, why does this always happens to me? I should have left earlier, or I should have taken a different route." All this goes on, right? So this, in fact, creates an anxiousness and frustration, right? When we are having when these thoughts are going. So we that means we think that freedom will only come after we come out of this situation, like after the traffic is cleared or when we reach the destination. We think that okay, we are at free. We are free. Uh, but by practicing this, the practice of no problem, like as he says that liberation is already yours, when we understand this, what comes to us is okay, this is the current reality which we cannot change, like by being frustrated and all. So when we understand, uh, okay, this is where I'm now. This is, and that's okay. If we just make this up in mind, we are immediately, feel that freedom and peace, even amidst, external chaos. And he also says contentment is always available. Actually, whatever we have, when some part of our mind, it always brings up some problem or other. We are not content with the things. We always think that discontent or incomplete. There is another part of you all already perfectly content, but some part of ours is always, having some kind of incompleteness. We think that once this is done, I'll be complete. One that is done, that is attained, we will feel complete and we get freedom and all, we think. So friends, meditation is not about seeking a new state, but about recognizing and accepting totality of your current experience. So if you're thinking that I will be free after that is done, means that is not the thing. Just it is not changing the status or a state of our mind. It is just accepting, being content with the present moment, what is available on hand. And most of the times we always, see, I'll tell you an example. Like the mind always, often convinces that something is missing or needs to change for liberation, liberation to occur. This is always we feel that we need something, some state of mind, something has to change, something is missing. Once this is changed, then I will have the complete liberation. That is what we feel. This shows actually a lackness, right? I'll tell you an example. See, when we go to a party, most of the times we leave all the 99% of it, what is perfectly done, be it the decoration part, everything, the linen, everything, the food and all. Leaving that, some people, most of us actually, we do not know that this is a lack consciousness. Leaving all the 90%. Oh, if this flower is done in a different way, if this is done different way, this would have, looked good, awesome. We comment. Actually, that shows the lackness. Leaving all that 99% what is perfectly done, we leave that and talk about that 1% which is incomplete. Likewise, our mind also tries to find so many other reasons. This is lacking, that is lacking. If this is complete, then I'll be at peace. So he talks about this lackness. Freedom is not a contingent on altering thoughts, emotions, or circumstances. It is already present, he says. And meditation, he says, meditation is an act of surrender to what is, rather than an effort to become something else. We always assume that in meditation, when we are sitting, also we are going from this current state to the some other state. We always think, right? That makes our meditation practice easy. But he says, it is already there. You don't have to change anything. It is an effort to become something else, not needed. You just surrender to the act of it, he says. Here, Ramana Maharshi has given a beautiful quote in the book. He says, yeah, I will just talk about it. So, and freedom, one more key point is freedom beyond perception. Uh, what happens is, I will tell you an example. Freedom beyond perception means our mind perceives only few things. That doesn't mean that other things are not there. Just like a flashlight, if you are flashing in a dark room, uh, on whichever wall we are flashing, we will be able to see that portion of it. That doesn't mean that other furniture or other things are not present, right? Likewise, we are conditioned to see what is, perceivable to our thing only. So we just ignore the other part of it. And he says true liberation means trusting that freedom is inherently yours, regardless of how you feel the experiences are at any given moment. Uh, this is what he talks about this. And uh, if we want to take more points of liberation is already yours, We can talk about like how in the traffic, by changing it, we can immediately attain that peace. Like negative emotions also. In the negative emotions also, most of the times we feel upset and for example, a friend, if something they say something, I can't believe that how they can say about me like that. So the typical reaction, what happens is we believe that freedom will only come once that conflict is over, that resolved, or we feel that way. So in the liberation practice, what we have to do is, instead of suppressing or trying to fix the emotions, you can simply observe them without judgment. We have to accept the feelings of hurt as a part of the present moment, and doesn't diminish your inherent freedom. That is what he says, because that is only going on in the present moment only, that is only temporary, right? That doesn't mean that it will, completely diminish your inherent freedom. That is what he says. So by not needing the emotions to go away, you create space to experience peace along the pain. The negative feeling may remain, but they no longer control you. We all must have experienced this, right? So, by realizing this, liberation is already yours. Meditation becomes an effortless expansion into your full self, unburdened by the need to achieve or change anything. So beautifully said, right? I'll give you one more example. Imagine a bird in a cage. The bird may feel trapped and limited by the cage, but if the cage door is actually open, the bird is free to fly, right? But it may not realize it. Likewise, in this example, the bird represents our true nature, which is already liberated. The cage represents our perceptions, thoughts, emotions that create a sense of limitation. uh, the open cage door symbolizes the fact that the liberation is already ours, right? But we may not recognize it. So, by embracing the second insight, we can deepen our understanding of liberation and freedom and live a more authentic and joyful and fulfilling life. This is what he talks about. Second insight, friends. The third insight is liberation is more than a feeling. So, like our Neha madam already touched upon this, he's also talking about this. Liberation is more than a feeling. So, this insight highlights the true freedom of liberation doesn't depend on a specific emotion state. Or instead, liberation exists beyond feelings, perceptions. And so, liberation is beyond our feelings. That means feelings come and go, right? They are fleeting, like influenced by external circumstance. All the time, the feelings are, uh, influenced by the external circumstances, thoughts, and moods. So, if we tie liberation to the particular feeling like happiness, peace, or relief, then we are not truly free. We are bound to the need for that feeling, right? Liberation transcends feelings existing as constant reality beyond the mind's perception. So, imagine a cloudy day where the sun is not visible. You might feel that sun is gone. We all talk also. So intellectually, we know that actually the sun is still shining above the clouds, but we just tell outside the sun is gone. So here the insight is liberation is like the sun here. It is always present, even when obscured by the clouds. Here, clouds means our thoughts and emotions, our current experiences. Like the clouds don't define or diminish the sun's existence, our thoughts will not, diminish the our freedom. So, liberation is not confined to feelings or peace or contentment. It exists independently of how you feel. So feelings are not at all, it will not diminish our actual freedom. And meditation is an acceptance of the totality of who you are, regardless of what your experience might be. And one more thing, what the key point, what he says in this insight is, we are conditioned to believe that freedom only exists within the boundaries of our conscious awareness. Here, like we talked about the flashlight, uh, So since the flashlight is pointing to the only one part of the darkened room, that doesn't mean that the other things are not existing, right? But we are conditioned to see only one part of it. He says we should come out of that conditioned perception. And true freedom means being free regardless of whether you feel free. And this understanding allows us to stop striving for specific feelings. We always, attach to specific feelings or states instead of, trusting the inherent ability of our freedom. Your freedom, he represents a liberation. And by recognizing the liberation is already present, you can let go of the need to pursue or manipulate your experience to achieve it. So here, no need of any manipulation. So we should always recognize that liberation is already present. And coming to the so here, what we can take for example, if we are overwhelmed by any deadline, your mind tells, I can't be at peace until this is over. Uh, so what we do is liberation is possible only once we come out of this or once we cross the deadline, right? That means even amidst this, that creates stress naturally. So even amidst stress, freedom is already present. It's not about erasing the stress, but realizing that your awareness, the part of you observing the stress, is untouched by it. So you can be free while the stress is happening also. That is what he tells. And another key point is liberation is not about changing your experience, but about being available for life as it is. I really love this sentence, what he said. It's not about changing the experience, but being available for the life as it is, he says beautifully. So the core insight of this insight is freedom is not dependent on the feelings or conscious recognition. It is a fundamental truth of existence that can be trusted regardless of your current emotional or mental state. Friends, the fourth insight is intention is not willpower. Can anybody wants to talk about intention and willpower? What is your understanding? Because usually we think that intention and willpower are same. Actually, I always felt the same thing, intention and willpower. Can anybody distinguish between these two things? I think you can, anybody wants, you can unmute yourself and can talk about this. Okay. So he clearly distinguishes between these two things, like intention and willpower. Like he explains, uh, spiritual awakening comes from the effort, not from effort, but from surrender, he says. He argues that intention is not the same as willpower. Willpower is about forcing ourselves to do something, often through actually discipline and control, isn't it? And he says, in contrast, intention is about aligning ourselves with our deepest desires and allowing things unfold naturally, he says. So, for example, if we take uh, let's say someone wants to quit smoking, or okay, let's take this. So willpower approach is might involve like setting up a goal, or creating a schedule, like okay, instead of having four, let me take like two. Okay, let me, they will schedule it, they may schedule it, okay, I will restrict, or instead of four to two, like that. Okay, there may be some schedule and they try to follow that, and very much discipline to avoid smoking. This approach can be effective in the short term actually, but often leads to feelings of deprivation and resistance. Actually, this is right? Because when we are following, when we want to achieve something, when we decide, most of the times with the willpower is nothing but mind's power, but intention is nothing but mind's intention, mind's, what should I say, yeah, mind's decision. That's what he says. Willpower is mind power. You may be having with mind power, you may do it for short term. Suppose if you're not enjoying the work, whatever you're doing, so you may feel, frustrated or deprived of your freedom, and that leads to frustration. On the other hand, intention based approach might involve exploring underlying reasons for wanting to quit smoking. For example, if you just decide, I want to speak, like quit smoking means without completely convincing yourself why you want to, quit smoking. Oh, someone is telling, some family members are telling, and doctor told I must quit. That will not go for a long time. Instead of the if you approach that intention based, when you internalize why I have to quit smoking, so when you understand, like morning in Chandra's class I got one point, like when you have a right understanding of the things, the intentions, right intentions will come. So in this case, when you understand, is it I'm leaving the smoking just because doctor said, or just because my spouse or children are telling, instead of that, if you just understand, okay, this is for my own good. And smoking is also a kind of addiction, right? So when you are meditating, whatever is that dopamine is coming through your meditation only, you don't need to de-stress by having a smoke, right? So when you have understanding of this, it motivates you to quit smoking. No need to be, so strict. When you're convinced, you will do it with love. Even any yoga or exercise or anything, for that matter, if we convince ourselves, if we start liking what we are doing or aligning to our own goals, we do it without any resistance. So he says true intention involves complete surrender to the way the things are without imposing personal will. So surrender opens to a higher spiritual process that cannot be accessed through the individual effort alone. That's what Jeff Carreira is telling. And it is a transformative process. Once you surrender control, you allow a greater intelligence or spiritual force to guide your transformation. So he says this process is delicate, natural, and beyond what personal willpower can achieve. He says. So overall, the core insight of this fourth insight, intention is not a willpower, is intention in meditation is not an act of doing, but a choice to surrender and fully accept the present. So the surrenderness allows us to transcend personal effort, making space for profound spiritual transformation to unfold naturally. This is what the author says. So, coming to the epilogue, the true value of spiritual experience. Actually, Jeff Carreira is he left his traditional life. He says when he was in late 20s, and he did extensive spiritual like meditations and long meditations, and he says the transformation is based on the meditation is the main foundation for the transformation. And he emphasizes the experience. He had many experiences in his like spiritual practices, the his deep meditations. He had many more experiences, but he says the these are experiences, while transformative, are not ultimate goal of spiritual practice, he says. So having the experience is not the goal. So the gift that they awaken is a deeper appreciation for the enormity of reality, he says. So he says it is not at all a goal. So the value of spiritual practice lies not on the accumulation of profound experiences. Because we always compare when someone is telling about their experiences, right? Like we always feel that I'm not getting. Friends, the meditation practice is, uh, if you are doing a regular meditation practice, the equation is the how transformative we are, like every moment, how we are transforming. That is the benchmark, whether we are progressing in our meditation practice or not. He beautifully says this is not at all a benchmark for your awakening. this may be a maybe useful in transformation, but not the ultimate goal. That's what he says. And actually, reading this book, I just got to know that 15 days back only we have decided to read this book. When I read that book some 15 years days ago, it was a different experience. When I'm reading this book, it made me to think and implement in my day-to-day life. Okay, though we are doing meditation, but reading of the books of this kind, it constantly reminds us. I'm always, this is coming in every part of my life. Okay, whenever I'm feeling something different, even in office or atmosphere or even at home. Okay, okay, I'm reading this book, The Practice of No Problem. So this reminds me to, practice in my day-to-day life. So I request all of you to read this book. There is much more. So 15 days ago when I read, that was a different. Some 2 days ago when I was reading the book, that was giving a different meaning. So each and every line is very, very important. I suggest and recommend all of you to read the book. And thank you all for listening. And I request you all to share your thoughts on liberation, how you are implementing in your daily life the practice of no problem. I can say thanks to Buddha Seva Quantum Foundation. So we got this platform to share this knowledge with all of you, and especially for both of us. Like we really enjoyed reading this book. So thank you so much. You can share your thoughts.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was a wonderful insight and learning, truly.
Thank you. Thank you, madam. So mainly he says the how we can practice in day-to-day life, how we can implement this all the four noble insights is first meditation is the main base. Meditation only gives that awareness and living in the present moment in any whatever situation we face in a day-to-day life, just observing our thoughts and feelings. And liberation is not something which we attain once we cross this river, right? It is in the present moment, understanding this is available already. The moment we change our thinking pattern, the moment we accept the situation as it is, it is already present. We recognize that. So without any judgment and without labeling any experiences, every moment whenever we feel tensed, just just immediately we have to have that okay, what if now. I think for everything, I feel the whole book is about meditation and living the present moment. Actually, if we are paying attention to the present moment, we do everything perfectly. That is what I think you all might have already experienced this. So anybody would like to speak and add to this? Anusha, would you like to sum up or add anything to? Yeah, Radhika madam, please.
Yeah, first of all, thank you both. I think it's a very nicely summarized book. Thank you both, Anusha and Anusha. And Anusha, okay, good to see you after the last meeting at the retreat last September. I think after hearing to the 6 chapters that you both presented, one thing that I could relate is, the concept of acceptance and surrender that is very nicely brought out by Chandra sir in the 40-day program as well. So
Yes.
It's different people are talking about this meditation technique using different terms, but at the end of the day, what I realize is it's all about being in the present moment and surrendering yourself to the experience, clearing your minds of all the biases and judgments. And I think this book also probably is leading in that same direction. And you both captured it really beautifully. So thank you for your efforts and your time. I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Radhika madam. I
Thank
was
you, ma'am.
talking about this quote of Ramana Maharshi, right?
Yes.
In the beautiful quotes are given in the book, he says, give up the notion that I am so and so. All that is required is to realize the self is to be still. What can be easier than that? That's what Ramana Maharshi says.
Yeah, absolutely. I think being in that stillness state itself is a lot of realization. And once you actually experience that, I think it answers most of your questions as well. But it's not easy. I think I've been in this, trying to practice meditation for about 6 months now. But getting to that emptiness state is still a challenge, no matter what. But still, even if I experience that for a few seconds, you do realize that you're able to connect to your higher self and be in that state of oneness and wholeness. So yeah, it's beautiful. I think I haven't read this book, but I have the PDF copy. I just downloaded it as you were discussing on the forum. So I will read through it too. So thank you once again.
Please do read, ma'am. It just takes 1.5 hours to 2 hours just to read, but to understand, I feel like we should read very often to internalize and practice. This book motivates me to read his other books too. Actually, is a great meditation master, Jeff Carreira. A lot of insights.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you once again.
Thank you, madam. Friends, anybody? Meena, ma'am, I see you.
Hi, Anusha. And Anusha, amazing job. Great job. I hadn't even heard about this book before, but it's really fascinating. I'm definitely going to pick it up and read it. Good job. Great job.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, ma'am.
Friends, please do add your what we face in our day-to-day life. That those examples really makes us to understand when we are reading the book. Also, these examples makes us to understand. He beautifully given two things about that dark light and the sun, like how it is. The clouds are covering. That's beautiful examples. So if there is nothing to add, shall we close this forum? Once again, thank you all for joining and listening to us. Thank you very much. And once again, wish you all a very, very happy new year.
Thank you, everyone, for joining this.
Thank you very much, Anusha and Anusha. Great job. Actually, from many days, I wish to read the books, but still I am facing difficulty, and you people are motivating me to read the book. Thank you.
Please do read, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Friends, are you all part of this wisdom group? Otherwise, please share your numbers here. We will ask the team to add to the book club so that you get people also keep posting some of the PDFs also where the books are not available on Amazon. So we can add to the group.
Ma'am, can you share your number also so we can message you to add us to the group?
Really,
Put your number in the chat.
that really helps.
Yeah, can you give us your number also, please?
Yeah, sure. I will give you.